Okay, we are live here for Hard Lens Media. It is so good to see all of you. Thank you for joining me, if you can, for this short Christmas day uh, live stream. I'm just going to give it a few short seconds just to build things up. I hope all of you are having a safe and wonderful holiday. It's quite clear that, there's still a lot going on. And as promised, we still will do a show for everyone that's sitting at home safely. And again, we all here at Hardlands Media wish everyone a happy holiday. Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, happy Festivus for all of you that are joining us. So, with that being said, again, welcome. So I hope all of you are at least been able to enjoy the Christmas festivities as much as you can. But with that being said, this is Hard Lens Media. And while there is Christmas cheer and gloom and doom in 2020, as always, we must remind you guys what is going on. And there's been a lot of stories that's been happening or that people have been ignoring for some time. And first and foremost, I think it's time for us to talk about good old Joe Biden. That's right. We are about to Biden it up. So what do I mean by this? Well, we got a couple of stories. You can check them out in our show notes below. But again, this is something we've warned about on Hardlands Media about the potential Biden administration and how all these great campaign promises that Biden was going to promise were never going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. Take, for example, this wonderful story. Unacceptable and immoral, say progressives, after Joe Biden admits he will be unlikely to cancel student debt. Now, just again, a quick reminder to all of our viewers and subscribers, this is the same Joe Biden who in 2005 worked with the credit card corporation to basically make student debt what it is today. And for all of those who don't understand student debt or why we are so against it, because student debt is a form of debt that will follow you even after you die. It's a form of unforgivable debt. And it hurts a lot of Americans. A lot of Americans right now who wanted to get a higher education are stuck with maybe 25 grand, 50 grand, 100K, 200K in student debt and loans. Now, the old talking point was, well, just pay it off, get a job. Then 2020 came around and basically blew everything up. So if it's not more difficult for students right now or former students, graduates to pay off their student debt, it's going to be impossible. And there was a lot of hope with the Biden administration, and a lot of blue checkmark people were saying, well, if you vote for Biden, he'll do it. He's not. President-elect Joe Biden on Wednesday questioned whether he will have the authority to cancel student loan debt through executive action and said he is unlikely to do so, remarks that prompted forceful backlash from progressives who argue he will soon have the power and more obligation to provide at least some relief to millions of debt-saddled Americans. Reiterating his promise to re-enter the Paris Climate Agreement to protect dreamers with executive action, Biden said he is skeptical that he could unilaterally cancel $50,000 in student loan debt for many borrowers, a proposal pushed by Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat from Massachusetts, Senate Minority Leader Chucky Boy Schumer, Democrat from New York, and others. A poll released last month found that 60% of U.S. voters would support Biden canceling up to $50,000 of student loan debt per person. Biden is quoted in saying, "I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. For example, it's arguable that the president may have the executive power to forgive up to $50,000 in student debt," Biden said in an interview with the Washington Post, correctly anticipating progressive outrage over his stance. Well, I think that's pretty questionable. I'm unsure of that. I'd be unlikely to do that. Biden has proposed canceling, just a measly $10,000 in federal student debt per borrower through legislation, which will require approval of Congress. This is the same Congress that is still struggling, mind you, to give us $2,000 in stimulus checks. Mind you, we are entitled and deserve so much more since Congress found it in their heart to bail out corporations and other foreign countries, but not us. Anyways, if Democrats fail to win both the U.S. Senate runoffs in Georgia next month, Biden's hesitancy to use his executive authority could stand in the way of meaningful relief for Americans who collectively hold more than 1.7 trillion in student loan debt. Just on top of that, too, I want to remind everyone, if this was a Republican president, they wouldn't give a damn about what the Senate or House would think of them. But since Biden's a Democrat and a polite, kind politician, he's going to listen to what Congress is going to say and basically not do anything. Remember, Joe Biden said nothing will fundamentally change. So all the Americans that are struggling with student debt, sadly, unfortunately, Biden is not going to answer that call. Such a sad state of affairs that we're in. Again, many Americans, millions of Americans, are struggling with student debt. I just want to read this quote from the youth-led Sunrise Movement, added Thursday, that Biden has the power to cancel student loan debt. To not use it is immoral. And again, there's a lot of demands from the Biden administration to bring in change. But again, Biden has made it very clear that he's not listening to progressives or independents. Just look at who he has put in his administration right now. Yes, in theory, it's such a diverse administration. Really good. Hey, I'm proud to see people being put into positions of power, and doesn't matter who they are. But then again, at the same time, too, what are their beliefs? Yeah, Biden might have a diverse administration, but they're all corporatists. You would think one of them would speak out and say, well, maybe forgiving student debt would really help Democrats out, I don't know, in the 2022 midterm election cycle and then going into the 2024 general election cycle. But hey, this is the Democratic Party we're talking about. This is Joe Biden we're talking about. And again, it proves Hardlands Media is correct in regards towards calling out Biden who he really is. He's a corporatist. He said he'd proudly prostitute himself to corporations. And again, nothing's going to fundamentally change. But going further, I just want to rewind the clocks back to Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020. This is a big deal right here. From day one, we will need time, Team Biden. Walks back vow to end Trump attack on asylum seekers. That was a pretty big deal. Remember, Joe Biden has tweeted out that our country's going to heal and we're going to return the soul back to our country. And we're going to tell the whole world that America is back and kindness is back and politeness is back. What a joke. And to all the progressives and independents that were scared or forced or browbeaten into voting for Biden, this is what happens when you vote for the lesser of two evils. You still get evil. So, two of President-elect Joe Biden's top incoming advisors on Tuesday appeared intent on lowering expectations about Biden's plans to roll back President Donald Trump's anti-immigration rules, which have been condemned internationally as violating human rights. Susan Rice, who Biden named as his domestic policy advisor, and incoming national security advisor Jake Sullivan, told Spanish wire service that policies, including Remain in Mexico, officially known as the Migration Protection Protocols, MPP, will not be immediately suspended, contrary to Biden's campaign promise to end the MPP program on day one of his presidency. And if you check out the article in our show notes below, there's the good old Biden tweet, which I will gladly read for you guys. Donald Trump has slammed a door shut in the face of families fleeing persecution and violence. On day one, I will eliminate President Trump's decision to limit asylum and end the MPP program. Hashtag restore asylum now. Foolish. Again, the article goes into continuing into making the statement, saying Biden will need time to undo Trump's immigration policy. Sullivan acknowledged that Remain in Mexico policy, which more than 66,000 asylum seekers have been turned away at the U.S.-Mexican border and forced to live in 10 cities without access to sufficient medical care, suitable shelter, or legal aid, has led to a humanitarian crisis in northern Mexico, as people wait for their asylum claims to be processed in U.S. courts. But putting the new policy into practice will take time, he added, saying Biden will end the program early in his administration. Representative Ilhan Omar, again, Representative Ilhan Omar, if you're watching, hashtag force the vote. If this isn't evidence enough why we need to get these old politicians out of office, I don't know what will be. But again, this is Joe Biden who said not once, but 3 times, actually 4 times, that he would veto Medicare for all. I thought he cared about returning the soul back to the country. Representative Ilhan Omar went on to say and accused the Biden administration a classic bait and switch. This is a classic bait and switch. It perpetuates Trump's dehumanization of migrants and breaks a core campaign promise. Democrats lose big when administrations won't fulfill their promise. I urge the Biden transition team to reconsider this position. Again, this is something we said about the Biden administration. They're not going to listen to working class individuals. They're not going to listen to progressives. They're not going to listen to activists. They're not going to listen to community organizers. They're not going to listen to independents. They're not going to listen to anybody but their corporate donors. Journalist Glenn Greenwald tweeted on Tuesday, "It appears that the inclusion of a policy in a campaign platform or a promise by a candidate trying to win votes doesn't actually mean that's what will be done once the person is in power." Again, this is something that the Democrats have done time and time again. And we ask ourselves how we got Trump in the first place, how we got this individual. We got to break this system, because if nothing fundamentally changes, everyone prepared to be shocked if Trump decides to run again in 2024 and, dare I say it, possibly win. With that being said, we're going to move on to our next story. Before we do, I want to acknowledge everyone in the live stream chat. Shout out to all of you lovely people. We got Jessica Gonzalez. We've got Ottoman LX. We got From Moxu. We got Scroogle. And we got Ayana. Who else we got? We got Bride Biscuit, Anna Jackson, and Donna V, Little, Holly Horn. It's so lovely to see all of you. Welcome, everyone, to this live stream. I hope all of you are having a safe holiday. We got Lime O'Beans. We got Sam Roy. It's really good to have all of you here. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and I hope all of you are safe and enjoying your time with your friends and loved ones. Now more than ever, we need to be careful out there, and just please be safe. And I hope that this Christmas was a joyful one for all of you. With that being said, I want to get started now with our next and final story. And again, so lovely to see all of you. And shout out to Ayana, who's moderating the live stream chat. Take good care of yourself. And Lime O'Beans, Blood for the Blood God. Hey, buddy. Today's Senguilla. All right. We acknowledge the Blood Angels. Okay. Enough fun, enough distractions, enough 40K references. Let's get started with another story, and this will be the final one. And here we go. Biden on working with Senate Republicans. I'll never publicly embarrass them. President-elect Joe Biden expressed optimism that he will be able to work with Republicans because of his years working alongside them, despite a sharply divided Congress. Something, again, we've said on Hard Lens Media about how Biden, in all reality, is a conservative Republican. He's just in the Democratic Party. But yet, remember, corporate media and blue checkmark people said that he's a centrist, he's pragmatic, and he could rally everyone together. You know, Obama himself has admitted that he is to the right of Nixon, and he constantly compromised with Republicans. Did those Republicans ever give him anything? No, they didn't. And they're not going to listen to Biden either. Biden is quoted saying, "My leverage is every senior Republican knows I've never once ever misled them," Biden said on a telephone call Wednesday with several columnists, according to the New York Times. "I'll never publicly embarrass them." Biden faces a Congress deeply divided along party lines. Many Republican lawmakers have sided with President Trump's unproven claims of election fraud. But Biden told journalists on the call, which included Times columnist David Leonhardt, the Washington Post Jonathan Capehart, and the Wall Street Journal's Gerald F. Slib, that he thinks the country is in a different place now that will allow for agreement and action on certain issues, including the environment. "I'm going to be able to get stuff done on the environment you all are not going to believe," he said, according to the Times. "I couldn't have gotten it done 6 years ago." This is the same Joe Biden who said he's going to listen to the scientists, but at the same time, embrace fracking. So what are you going to do for the environment when fracking is still going on in your administration? There's still pipelines being constructed during your administration, and communities are being displaced and destroyed due to environmental racism and pollution. He also said he is hopeful bipartisan work can get done in responding to the coronavirus pandemic. The virus has infected more than 18 million people and killed more than 329,000 in the United States and has posed significant economic challenges nationwide. There's a new sense of urgency on the part of the public at large, he said. The American public is being made painfully aware of the extent and damage and incredibly high costs of failing to take the kind of measures we've been talking about. Well, if we're going to be talking about being aggressive, let's actually have a universal basic income. Let's have Medicare for all. Let's end regime change wars. Let's invest into our infrastructure. Let's do student debt forgiveness. But oh, wait, this is Biden we're talking about. He's not going to do any of that. Vote blue no matter who, people. Where are you at? Wait, correction. They're probably at brunch. Democrats will maintain control of the House when Biden takes office in January, 219 seats, down from 230, mind you. But the fate of the Senate is still undecided as Georgia heads into two runoff races. Again, there's a lot of Democrats and Republicans and a lot of columnists and reporters that are keeping an eye on the Georgia race. Who knows how that's going to turn out, whether the Republicans or Democrats are victorious. No matter what, we are still going to have a divided government and a presidential administration that I guess a lot of people feel comfortable with in theory because it's not the orange man saying mean things on Twitter. But here is a real problem. If nothing fundamentally changes, the system that gave us Trump will give us another Trump, or Trump's going to run again in 2024. If we don't have universal basic income, Medicare for all, ending student debt, as well as numerous other things that could help lift up Americans out of poverty, things will get worse. This is what we've talked about on Hardlands Media. But yet, remember, corporate media kept on promoting Biden as this great legislator, as this great person who could get things done and will fight for real issues and will get things done. There have been numerous articles saying that Biden is the next FDR. You know, if these reporters actually did their research on Franklin Delano Roosevelt, they'll realize that the media, the top 1%, the political establishment didn't like FDR or any of his policies. But FDR, he pushed back and got a lot of those policies implemented and became not only a leader that got us out of depression, but also became a wartime leader as well, and is remembered as a president who not only won not one election, but four. Granted, he died during his fourth term, but you know, Biden and corporate media, if you're going to say you're the next FDR, those are some big shoes to fill. And if you're not going to do student debt forgiveness, if you're not going to do Medicare for all, if you're not going to reverse Trump's policies on immigration, if you're not going to do anything and just try and be polite with Republicans, well, then the Democrats are going to get destroyed in 2022 and in 2024. Remember, before November 3rd, the Democrats had 230 seats. Now they're down to 219. If this isn't evidence about why we as citizens have to step up, I don't know what it will take. And asking anything from Biden or hoping that his administration will do any good for us is a fool's errand at this point. We got to look to the Congress. So when Jimmy Dore says hashtag force the vote, call up your elected legislators and have them withhold their vote for Nancy, we got to make it happen. When the people lead, that's when the leaders follow. Biden has made it very clear he didn't care about progressives. None of Bernie Sanders' policies made it past the task force. There are no progressives really in Biden's administration. And if there are, they're few. And their voices will be silenced by all the corporatists that are surrounding Biden. Yeah, it's a diverse administration, but they're all corporatists. They all have their ties to Wall Street, big banks, major corporations. They've all been part of that political circle, and Biden has made it very clear he's not listening to us. And as a final note, especially to the vote blue no matter who people who kept on protesting Trump, screaming for impeachment and Russiagate, I just want to remind you guys that Biden has made it very clear he's not going to prosecute Trump. They're going to move forward like how Obama did with the Bush administration. And hey, dragging in Republicans here. Remember, Trump kept saying about Hillary Clinton, he's going to lock her up. That never happened. It's one big club, and none of us are a part of it. If we don't step up now, calling for a better future, fighting for these real issues that a lot of Americans need, things will get worse, and nothing will fundamentally change. We deserve so much more. And just seeing just how the Biden administration is starting to backpedal, I only can wonder, all those people who kept on fear-mongering that, oh no, we don't need another term of Trump. When Trump runs again in 2024, what are you going to use this time around when Biden has made it very clear he's not going to do anything for us? Sorry to bring everyone's Christmas down, but it's sadly a fact. With that being said, wrapping all this up, I hope all of you are having a wonderful Christmas day, and I hope that all of you are going to be able to continue to fight the good fight, and don't let all this stuff bring you down. I just want to remind you guys that this is one big corporate establishment, and we have to fight for a better future. We have to step up. If the people don't lead, the leaders will never follow. And that's why now more than ever, we have to step up. We have to be aggressive. We have to be unapologetic. And for the next generation to come, we have to give them that better world, but we got to fight for it. We all know what's wrong in Washington, D.C. We got to get angry now. We got to start speaking out and fight back. So, Heartlands Media is live every Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're live on our Rockfin channel every Monday and Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we also have our fun channel, Chicago Reacts. Follow us on Twitter. Check out our Discord page. And also, if you want to consider supporting independent media, we do have a Patreon page as well. I want to give a shout out to Gamer for Life, Ayana, who've been moderating the live stream chat. There's all of you people in here, and I just want to just give a shout out to all of you guys. All of you are wonderful. Please take good care of yourselves. Gray Walker, I see you in here as well. Scroogle. We got Holly Horn. We got Andrew Gaulick. And who else do we have in here? I don't want to leave everyone out, but this time is running short, and I have to start getting ready for my Christmas celebrations. And so there we go. So with that being said, peace to you guys. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and let us all do what we can to build a better future.